It's been 8 long weeks since the patch has launched, Dratnos, and I hear that the Creation Catalyst is opening.
Yes, wise old man Tettles. That's exactly what's happening. Next reset, the Creation Catalyst will be online, and there's a lot of, I think, questions people have about how it's going to work
Yeah.
that we have some answers to, and there's a few things that I'm personally also still unclear about that we'll have to see how it works.
Yeah, but I think the most important thing is that the Creation Catalyst is available on week 8 of patch 9.2, showing up on April 12th for NA, April 13th for EU. So what exactly is the Creation Catalyst? I think is where we should start.
It lets you turn any item from this patch, basically, with a couple of, like, you can't turn the raid BOEs, I think, but basically everything else you'd be able to turn into tier for using the Creation Catalyst. And you get 1 charge per week, and that's like global, across all your character, or not across all your characters, but per character, 1 per week. And whether or not you use it, they'll accumulate. And so you'll be able to turn your non-tier pieces into tier pieces using this. They will preserve their item level. They will preserve any tertiaries and any sockets that they have on them. They will change their secondaries. And they'll also keep any like upgrade path. So any Conquest or Valor upgrade path that they have on them through being a Mythic Plus or PvP item. And also they'll keep that PvP item level bump text as well.
So whenever you say they'll change their stats, basically how it works is like the helmet, the chest, the pants, the gloves, like whatever, those pieces have set stats on them. So if you go into the dungeon journal and you look at, say, Lehuvum, for instance, and you're looking at like what pieces of gear drop from Lehuvum for you for your tier slot, those stats that you see, it'll be like versatility and mastery or whatever. It will convert. If you put like a haste mastery piece in the Creation Catalyst, it would convert it to the versatility mastery piece at the same stat budget, like allocation weight as it should be for that item level.
Yeah, so you can use this to turn pieces into the tier that you want. Mostly, the most valuable thing, of course, is just going to be getting a set bonus. Now, this does also work on cloaks, bracers, belts, boots, which don't have set bonuses on them to our knowledge. If you look at the table just down below here, you can see what all of these items are, and you can see what secondaries they'll have, but we don't think that they will make set bonus for you. That could be changed, but as of right now, our understanding is that this is just changing the secondaries effectively of one of these pieces and getting you the transmog associated with your tier set, which, hey, set transmogs are cool, so some of them are okay. I don't know.
But yeah, no, I think that's the biggest thing is like it allows you to like get the transmog for these pieces. So if you're looking for what you should be upgrading, you should be looking, if you do care about competitiveness, go for like the helmet, the chest, the legs, the hands, the shoulders.
Right, make your set bonus first.
Yeah.
Then maybe the next thing is like get your 5th piece so that you have some flexibility in your slots. Upgrade the item levels of whatever your lowest item level pieces are. If you've got 239 LFR pants or whatever, and you've got an off-piece heroic pants that you can't wear yet, Creation catalyze those pants, and bang, you've just upgraded, 26 item levels in your pants. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it does cost Cosmic Flux. Right here, there's a chart. So bracers and cloaks, 600. Obviously, those are just transmog pieces. Belts and boots, again, 800. Those are just transmog pieces. Shoulders and gloves are 1,200 Cosmic Flux per piece that you're converting. Those are set bonus pieces. And then helmet, chest, and legs, those are the high budget slots, like the most valuable slots. 1,500 Cosmic Flux. So that's a thing.
Yeah.
In addition to that, I read somewhere this week that you could even use Zereth Mortis World Quest items in the Creation Catalyst as well if you're looking to make a set bonus.
Yeah, they hotfixed something from Zereth Mortis to be usable with it. I'm not 100% sure which things exactly from Zereth Mortis, but something from Zereth Mortis is now usable. So yeah, okay, it's items, equipments purchased from Rafik in Pilgrim's Grace, Zereth Mortis, are now compatible with the Creation Catalyst.
Okay, so it's not just the items that you get. Like,
I'm not sure. I think the Zereth Mortis ones might already have been like Zereth Mortis World Quest items. I'm not sure, but basically, you shouldn't have trouble finding a base item in a given slot that works with the Creation Catalyst. it seems like it's pretty much everything except for like raid drop BOEs.
Yeah,
Although
because even like Mythic Plus pieces.
Yeah, Mythic Plus pieces, PvP pieces, whatever you want. There is some like if you're trying to Superman max this, one thing to do would be to like farm for tertiary or a socket on the helmet, and then catalyze those pieces, right? So that you get socketed tertiary helmet tier or whatever. But that's pretty minor. The other little minor optimization you can do if you already have 4-piece, you already have all the tier you want, is you can look through these off pieces in this table and be like, hey, I've got this crappy cloak it's verse crit, and I want to be haste mastery, so I'll swap my cloak into I'll catalyze my cloak, and that kind of thing is like a way to change your secondaries, right? My understanding is that's all it does. I don't think you get a set bonus off these, but if you do, then that will add a bunch of flexibility to how you can itemize.
Yeah, I think you're correct. I don't think you're supposed to get a set.
Yeah.
So the last thing we have to cover today is, did the creation catalyst come too late?
This is a hot topic, as I've learned from coming out on the no side of this question. But yeah, I'm okay. So look, it's been less than 2 months since the patch came out.
I'm listening.
It's been 1 month and well, actually, as of the day of recording this, it's been 1 month since Mythic came out. And by the time the catalyst comes out, Mythic will have been out for 1 month and 5 days. I don't think that's like, nobody's done gearing their characters yet. No raiders are done gearing their characters yet. A bunch of raiders are still finishing up getting their sets themselves. I think if the creation catalyst had come too much earlier, we'd be in this spot where it's like, I can just wait for the catalyst. There's nothing pulling me to go into the raid to get my tier pieces.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, obviously here on week 7, it feels like week 8 is such a long time, but I feel like once it actually comes out, we'll realize like, oh, hey, it's less than 2 months into this patch that's going to last 13 months or however long until they make next expansion. Like, this is it's more than early enough.
It's super interesting to me to see the dynamic of how like the player base has shifted over time, because I remember Warlords of Draenor and Legion, people weren't thrilled to not have their 4-set. Like, they felt like they had to raid for their tier bonus, but they weren't complaining about it because it was just like something that had been a staple of the game for such a long time. So their expectation was to either not get their tier set or to have to go into the raid if they wanted their tier set bonus. But now it's kind of interesting to see that people almost uniformly are, not everybody, but a lot of people are having complaints about the creation catalyst not being early enough and just low rolling getting tier without wanting to do the raid. I think that's like the biggest thing, is where the complaints have been coming from, is like people that aren't raiding at all, or they're like, okay, this tier has been taking too long, because they have like largely, at least in my experience, have 0 to 1 pieces of tier that they got from the vault, but they're getting it from like the Mythic Plus and the PvP slots.
If anything, I do think that they could up the drop rate of tier from the vault, especially like some kind of system where, if you have one vault, like one Mythic Plus slot, it's the same likelihood. But once you get to like that 3rd slot, you get a big bump of like, okay, you've actually played your character a lot. Let's get you a piece of tier per week for doing that. I think that would be something to consider as well. But I do think that the creation catalyst is sort of it's the system that is catch up. And I think it makes sense to not have catch up instantly at the start of the patch, because we're still on that leading edge of gearing all of our characters. Even the biggest characters in the game are still gearing right now.
Yeah, this is the earliest catch up for like a system of this order of magnitude that we've ever had. Because just for point of reference, the catch up for corruption resistance came in week 14,
right,
of 8.3.
The thing is, usually we don't know it's coming, right? Usually Blizzard's just like, we think the system is perfect as is, and then one day they're like, actually, we've changed our mind, we were dumb, and here's this hotfix, and you're just like, oh, okay, now I can play my alts.
Yeah.
But this time around, it's like I feel like it's the sort of thing where it's like, I don't know, when you were a kid and your parents were like, you can have candy later, and you're like, oh my god, I want candy now. I want it so bad. I want it to be later already. I'm so hungry for some yummy candy. That's basically the creation catalyst. I think the fact we know it's coming, like we know soon we can have our set bonus, guaranteed Z's, I think is I don't know, it's causing some weird psychological effects in us.
Yeah, I do think that may be apt. I don't know. It's weird because if you're looking at it from like a developer perspective, Blizzard has to balance like reward structures in the game to where you don't have like complete end game gearing by the first week, because that's not Like that's
Right. I
just
mean,
not a
that was
thing.
sort of the WOD thing, right? Was like, there's no reason to log in, and so people stopped logging in,
Well, it's like
and
no,
that's
it's
like,
like
oh, hang
Diablo.
on,
You're
yeah,
finished grinding your character's gear in Diablo after like day 3, right, or whatever. So like if the creation catalyst came out even 4 weeks earlier or whatever, sure, like everybody would have their 4 set by this point. But at the same time, then it's like, oh, I don't. It's also weird because they need to balance that while at the same time people are struggling to feel incentivized to even want to play at this point of the patch because they see other people with their 4 set who are these raiders who are basically in positions similar to yours and mine, where they feel like they're trying to compete with people who have their 4 set, and they are
right.
failing, and then they feel like the tier is what's holding them back.
I mean, I'm not going to say that tier has been implemented perfectly this time. I'm sure that
Yeah,
there are ways that that would be better, but basically, I see Creation Catalyst as like, I don't know, 95+% good, and I think that the discourse I've seen surrounding it has been like majority negative, which to me is something that I want to push back against, because I do think it's like literally we got back tier, which is what we were
sure.
asking for a long time, right? But also you can get it without ever setting foot in the raid through your vault. You can get it from Creation Catalyst. It's like so much better than it
Uh,
was before.
Unrelated but semi-related, do you think that the power creep between like difficulty levels and from 0 to 4 set is too high? Okay, so difficulty levels right now we're going from heroic to mythic level gear, and from normal to heroic level gear, those are 13 item level bumps apiece. And then from 0 to 4 set for a lot of specs, it's somewhere in the 15% range, and then some specs it's still in like the 20 to 25% range.
Yeah, for some specs, it's like double damage hack for Blood Death Knight.
Yeah,
Pretty
exactly.
cool.
Do you think that do you think that part of the problem is how strong tier is, and on top of that, how much like it like you're jumping from one stage of gearing to the next?
I don't know. I think tier being powerful is good. I think getting
Mm-hmm.
powerful bonuses that feel good for your character, that make you strong, versus like the shards of domination stuff where it's like, oh, you deal 1.5% more damage, for this shard. It's like
Sure. No, the shards of domination
those just
sucked.
feel so boring. I think the percent gains of tier are in the ballpark of where they should be, and I think the main good thing about tier is like most of the bonuses are pretty fun,
Yeah, I
especially when
agree
you
with that.
compare to the versions that we first saw in PTR. Like they've done a really good job of going through and like updating the ones that the class communities didn't like. Obviously, there's a couple exceptions, a couple of specs fell through the cracks, as always happens. But of the 36 specs, a very big number got exciting tier bonuses. Especially, I mean, we were nostalgic about old set bonuses, but there were some really bad sets back in the day that just
I
made it through the PTR cycle
uh-huh.
against the complaints of the community and just made it to live.
I think that we're in a weird state of like gaming in general, and I think that that's like being shown in the World of Warcraft scene, where players don't even want to play the game if they feel like they're being artificially held down in like not optimal ways, and it's just like this weird pushback. And so then at that point, and I don't know the answer to this, is like, what is Blizzard supposed to do? Are they really supposed to give you your 4 set at the beginning of the patch? Like, is that really what's supposed to happen so that some of these players don't feel like they are being held down by the meta? Or is this like a progression-based MMO and you just kind of, okay, it kind of sucks, but you know what game you're playing? It's
Yeah,
a
I mean, I
weird
think that
spot.
I do think it shouldn't be like a MOBA or whatever where your itemization is just guaranteed, right? It like you should be getting there should be some
Yeah.
RNG in how the loot is acquired, but I do think that there's a lot of valid complaints about like, okay, that if I'm in the unluckiest 5% of players, like I'm having a real bad time, and I think that there are clever targeted systems they can make to help bring up the unluckiest people with of loot. And I think Creation Catalyst does a good job. Again, we are what, 5 resets into Mythic, something like that. Like it's not, the patch is not that old. It's normal to not be full build at this point for in patches like that.
Exactly. I don't know. It definitely does feel weird if you're playing the patch like regularly and you're not wanting to do Mythic Plus. Or if you're not wanting to do raid as a whole, like the fact that a lot of these people just have 0 pieces of tier, that seems
Right.
super awkward to
But the
me.
difference is like, I don't know, in all the old expansions, you would just have 0 pieces of tier for the
Uh-huh.
whole patch until you set foot in raid. But now it's like, oh, you are going to have your 4 set in this month even if you've done no content except for Zereth Mortis dailies, which is like, I mean, I feel like that is such a great way to bring tier to everybody. And like, yeah, if
I
you
agree.
want more than that, go into Spelker. If you want it sooner, go into Spelker. It's not even that much sooner. It's just
dude. This is gonna be a long
weeks.
patch. Actually, okay, you're convincing me. This is gonna be a long ass patch. Like I don't know, man. I feel like at this point too. Yeah, it sucks to not have your 4-set super early on, especially if you're comparing yourself over and over again to people who do other 4-set. But if you want to be that level of optimal, you have to play like that.
All right, I think we've farmed enough dislikes on this video so far.
We're gonna get a lot of hate. You've convinced me, though. Actually, all right,
that's right. You're now also going to get the hate comments. You're welcome.
All right, we'll see you guys in the next week's video. I'll see you guys later.